Hi everybody and welcome to SA Rugby. I'm Kevin Ferguson. I've got James Dalton and Mark Keohane. We're going to get through the show quick, Mark, because James in his infinite wisdom wore a green shirt and would have been blocked out by the green screen behind us. So
yeah, I unfortunately came a bit as Camo Joe today, not realising the green screen. So hence I'm tightly tucked in a puffer jacket.
Your Betway puffer jacket.
Yeah, but I thought you would actually just say you're in a sweatshop, you're in training, yeah? So you got to make that weight division for the weekend.
I've got to cut those last few kilograms before fight night.
Every night is fight night.
Every night is fight night. Ding ding.
Speaking of green, we've got Ireland up against Italy.
Poor Italy, yeah? Poor Italy. Every week they prepare and they get hammered. Imagine being an Italian player.
Yeah, they might as well just turn their jerseys around, so it looks like they're going forward.
You know, James was saying before we went on, he said, like, come on, you know, they played really well against England and they really gave it a tonk, which they did. And the score was 41-18. And that is indicative of a situation. When you lose 41-18 and people are saying you belong in the Six Nations, wow, that was a good... That's just how poor they are at the moment and have been for a long
the
time.
team losing by 23 points, you'd be getting lambasted.
Completely, you know, so...
Yeah, look, I just don't think they've, you know, as much as they've got the effort and the passion and the desire, they just don't have the players, they don't have the depth, and they just simply cannot execute, you know, and that was shown against England. You know, they manned up against England, you know, they took the challenge. If they had to play a back-to-back game after having played England, they would have got pulverized by their next opposition.
Well, it seems to me that you know, political correctness is just ebbing into every corner of the world, even in sports, where we've got Italy and we describe them as heroic and brave.
Yeah.
And has anyone ever described an Italian as heroic and brave? What do they say about
I think the Italians surrendered before the World War started.
Yeah, what do they say about the Italian tank?
Yeah.
1 gear forward and 5 reverse.
Run forward just in case an attack comes.
No, just to maneuver it.
I guess it's kind of like having a beauty pageant and having one large and in charge woman in there, and we've all got to say, yeah, she tried hard.
Look at it this way: the Italians do have the Pope, so that's the one thing they've got in their favour.
Well, the Vatican has.
Yeah.
Look, the Italians have got a great culture, great lifestyle, beautiful people that live in the country. They just can't play rugby as a collective. They haven't for a while. Nick Mallett, who was a bloody good coach, went over there. He won 5 out of 53 with a fairly decent team, and he managed to get 2 wins against France in that time. But 5 out of 53. It's Franco Smith's got no price if he's playing teams that are ranked 1 to 8 in the world. And when does he get to play anyone that's ranked below Italy? It's potentially at a World Cup or if one of the Pacific Island nations come over. So he's on a hiding to nothing. Ireland back to full strength. They need a morale boosting victory, and I think they'll hammer them by 25 points.
Interestingly enough, Italy is the only side that's actually beaten Ireland in the Six Nations. You know that?
Well, I can assure you that every team that I know
they have won over the...
No, Italy historically have beaten Ireland, Wales, and Scotland, and France. They've never beaten England. So they have beaten Ireland, but that was a pre-Joe Smith Ireland. So...
Okay, so I think we've talked enough about Italy and Ireland. Let's give me a score.
40-15 to the Irish.
Sure.
With my 25 points.
That's nice and rich.
To the point. Chris.
42-16.
Yeah, I'd go 35-12.
Okay, so we're all in agreement it's over 20. So with the point spread on Betway being minus 19.5, take the points, lay the points 19.5 and put some money on Ireland. I will be. Yeah. Okay, let's get on to the real game. Wales versus England.
Wales!
Well, red has certainly favoured the Red Dragons, having played 2 tests with 2 red cards going.
And not for a short time, for an extended period of the game. Yeah. Which to me has given Wales a false dawn. People are talking about a Welsh revival. For Christ's sakes, I mean, Wales are as bad as they were last year. They're just playing with 15 men against 14. Yeah. So, you know, unless the World Cup comes out with new rules that only 14 players can play against Wales, they've got no chance. And you're going to go into that World Cup, it looks like, with Pivak, who saved his job for all intents and purposes. And I'm not a believer in his rugby, and we're sort of stuck with him now. Yeah. So, for me, England to hammer Wales this weekend.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Geez, I must be honest, guys. I don't rate England. I don't rate their play, their style of play. Well. I mean, if you even go look at the last game that they played, they kicked the ball away 48 times, and then Eddie Jones complains they never had any possession. So if you're gonna kick a ball away that many times, not utilize it, and you're gonna play well the Wales, who have a relatively good attacking platform, I don't think it's going to be such a dominating, one-sided affair for England.
Look, if I look at the Six Nations so far, I also don't quite have the fear that a lot of the Springbok supporters had with the Lions, going back to a World Cup where Gatlin was in charge. That England team was on the up under Jones. They kind of capitulated in the final. You look at the best of Ireland at the moment, struggling Wales. England was nowhere near the side they were for a good 2 years before the World Cup. And Scotland are hit and miss. I mean, to me, it will obviously be tough when the Boks play the Lions. But there's not this awe-inspiring feel around Six Nations and these teams at the moment. And I agree with Kevin wholeheartedly about Wales. I think 15 on 15, they would have been two matches down. People are writing, what's the transformation? It's the opposition lost a player every time. Yeah. But England aren't playing well. I think they've passed their peak under Jones, but they'll still be strong enough to get the win, and I think they'll bully them up front. I've got them to win by 10, and a comfortable 10. And if there was 75,000 at the Principality, and most of them were wearing red, I'd say that potentially could have got Wales close, but not an empty stadium. No, they're not a good enough side, and they've got some very good individuals. They've got the wrong coach. Ireland have got the wrong coach. Scotland have got the right coach, and I dare to say I think England, Eddie's sell-by date happened in that World Cup final. He should have left after that. He had built that team to win the World Cup. They didn't. Their game was New Zealand, and they got smashed by us. And again, I read on social media, everyone, oh my God, wait till the Boks play them. Wow, our rugby's abysmal. Bristol against Bath. Did you see that? Wait till the Springboks play them.
Yeah,
they won't make
Eddie
the call.
Jones a while ago actually make a comment and say that the British and Irish Lions should predominantly be comprised of England players. And if you look at them now, I'd hope that would be the case so that we can give them another hammering.
Well, it doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter who they're comprised of. You're going to give them a hammering. I've said this from months ago, that the Boks have nothing to worry about playing the British and Irish Lions.
You said 3-0, but now it could be 4-0 because it could be a fourth test.
Well, I think that now it's going to probably be in we'll get onto that. Let's get onto that. Anyway, for me, there's no crowd. Pivek's still coach. We've got we've got too many guys coming up on 100 tests, which seems like a great accolade, but it really isn't. I mean, it's still dining off the glory of the Gatlin era. Yeah. So for me, Wales are going to lose this game by at least 10 or more points. Great bet to be made. England minus 6.5 on Betway, 1.82. I'll take that all day.
Yeah, I've got Wales to lose 28-18, 10 points comfortably.
I got 28-17.
I think it's going to be tighter than that. Okay. I'd say England by 5.
Okay. Well, for those of you that believe in James Dalton's.
Well,
I know what that jacket's done to you, mate.
I mean, I think that the jacket's overheating my thinking processes. Yeah.
There's nothing to think about.
No, I think England are shit. To be quite honest, they kick way too much possession away. And yes, Wales have won games with the red card favouring them, but they have that passion and that instinct. They can be competitive up front.
The Dragons to roar.
I'm not saying they win. I've never said they win, but they're going to come with a hell of a game.
So England to win by 5.
Yeah.
Okay. There you have it.
And not to point more.
We must just put a disclaimer on everything. We make these predictions calls based on 15 playing 15. Yeah. Because so much changes at the moment when it's player gets sent off in the 20th minute. Anything we say here becomes...
Are you trying to get a back door for yourself?
No, I'm just saying, when people said to me last week, what do you say now? And I'm like, well, I didn't really preview the game at 15 on 14, I'd say a lot of different things, you know. So
You're not such a great custodian like you make out that you are.
Look, Mark's absolutely right. You know, there's lots of things that happen in a rugby game, the bounce of a ball, and you take all those things into consideration, and you make your bets. But you don't legislate for a red card in the 30th minute or the 25th minute.
Yeah.
You know, you don't budget for that.
Quite
So
right.
when it happens, you just tear up your ticket and go unlucky. It happened to Wales against France in the World Cup semi-final. You know, it's the same thing.
You just cannot be competitive at that level, playing with 14 players for 60 minutes.
IRB need to look at it. They need to really look at it and say, okay, if that player has got a red card, okay, he's off. Then it's a 10-minute yellow card, and they can replace it. It's a but you know, why let common sense get in the way of
Hey, this is the RB. This is the RB. You know they're untouchable.
Yeah.
Be careful. Might have a sniper out there for you.
I just want to, on a technical point, they now call World Rugby, and they have for about 10 years. So the IRB is long gone.
Well, exactly. Shows you how much attention I'm paying to them.
Well, the idiotic rugby board would have been more. They should have kept that. Because they haven't done much to promote the game of rugby. And you look at a guy like Eddie Jones in England, and you have an obligation to also entertain people. And when I watched England's last game, it was the most turgid rugby I'd seen in years. And rugby is in dire need of some entertainment.
Absolutely.
Well, so Kevin, unfortunately, there's so many new laws that have also affected the game negatively. You know, even the reset at the scrums, how much time is wasted there, and it's just becoming more and more governed by laws and regulations, even.
And interpretive, open to interpretation.
And then the TMO getting involved and the linesmen getting involved.
Well, I think, Mark, we were chatting about a try last week.
Johnny May's try.
Johnny May's try, where
Nigel Owen said no, Jonathan Kaplan said yes.
No.
Two of the best referees in the world both called it differently.
Yeah.
And you got a problem in your game when that happens.
No, absolutely.
there's no other sport I know in the world where that happened. Maybe in a penalty is an interpretive, but the contrary, rugby is interpreted for 80 minutes, and you're seeing so many calls.
Well, it's like golf,
Play it's like golf, play it as it lies. Interpret it as you see it, If sometimes it goes in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. And that's what also creates more of that X factor and a bit of excitement in the game.
Jesus. Moving along, Ernie.
No, but it is, guys, sometimes historically, we didn't play with TMOs, and you'd score a try that was a doubtful try.
Thank Christ for you.
Yeah, thank God for me. Can you imagine how many red cards I would really have then with all the TMOs and all the cameras? all we need is a drone now on the field.
I don't think we're too far away.